Hey guys, it's Mike here with another Pokemon Showdown battle. I am once again playing in the OEU tier with the same rain team as before, and I'm just going to jump straight in now and look for a battle. Here I'm playing Stev, who, looking at his team, the obvious lead would seem to be Ferrothorn to get up spikes and rocks, and obviously counter my Politoed, who would be the most obvious lead of everyone on my team. So instead, I decide to lead with my Tornadus because it's carrying the Heat Wave, so I'll hit the Ferrothorn. If I catch the Ferrothorn in the Heat Wave, it will be dead. Now I'm just waiting for him to make his decision here, and oddly enough, he makes a good play and leads with the Alakazam. So I just go for the U-turn here to get the switch initiative because he's never going to stay in, and he switches into Ferrothorn, revealing that he's running the Rocky Helmet set, and I take way too much damage from that. I switch out into my Latios and I go for the Hidden Power Fire. I know he's probably going to switch out, but I'll get damage on whatever comes in. He goes into his Vaporeon, and I have to switch out because Latios can do nothing to him now that he's locked into the Hidden Power Fire. I don't want to go into Politoed yet, because getting Rain up while he still has his Ferrothorn around will limit the damage my fire attacks will do, and I don't want that. And I go into Metagross. Unluckily he gets the crit, but I just get my rocks up here, and then he goes for the Scald. I live, thankfully, and I'm left to go for the Meteor Mash or the Bullet Punch. I just go for the Meteor Mash to get damage, and I know it'll kill me off this turn, but looking at his team, I don't think I'll need my Metagross for anything else on his team, so I decide to let him die. I go back into my Tornadus here, because I'm carrying the Hidden Power Grass, and that will hit Pokemon like Vaporeon, water types, quite hard, but he protects here, and I go for the Hidden Power Grass again, and this time he goes for the Toxic, which is a good play on his part, because between Wish, Protect, Stalling, and me trying to finish him off with the Hidden Power Grass, he's getting a lot of toxic damage on me, which is never good, no matter what the Pokemon is. So these Wish, Protect shenanigans go on for a couple of turns, while I try to get him down to a health where someone else can kill him. I've gotten him down pretty low now, but with him wishing, I just go for I switch out here because I'm on such low health, and I go into my Cloyster to absorb the Scald. I know the Scald will still do a lot of damage, but with the resisted hit, I hope Cloyster will survive. He makes a good play here and goes into his Ferrothorn, and I switch out then into my Tornadus because there's no way I can stay in against the Ferrothorn. He just puts up his rocks. This turn I go for the Heat Wave to try and take out the Ferrothorn, but he predicts this well and goes out into his Mismagus. I hit the Mismagus with the Heat Wave and it does a lot of damage, well over half, meaning I can kill the Mismagus next turn if I go for the Heat Wave or get damage on whatever he wants to switch in. So I go for the Heat Wave again, and here I guess he expected me to go for the U-turn because he switches out here and makes a mistake that could have had a massive impact on the match, where he goes into his Ferrothorn and I take out his Ferrothorn. So now that the Ferrothorn's gone, I am safe to bring in my Politoed and set up the Rain. And once I get the Rain up, I can just begin hurricaning everything. Here I just switch out into my Politoed because Tornadus is getting on really low health, and I want to get some of that regenerator healing going. The Mismagus goes for the Hidden Power here, which doesn't do much. Luckily for me, he was running a not very effective style of hidden power. I just go for the Scald here, and he makes a good play and goes into his Vaporeon, where he gets the water absorb healing. I just go for the Toxic here, hoping he'll stay in, because Toxic on whatever switches in is good, now that he has no Steel type to block that. I get the Toxic on his Vaporeon as he goes for the Wish. I kind of see a bit of a stally bit of play coming here. So I switch out into my Latios because I'm not a big fan of stally play. And when I'm in my Latios, I'm carrying the Draco Meteor, which nothing on his team really wants to take, as well as the Psyshock, which nothing on his team really wants to take either. I decide to go for the Psyshock because I can get off more than one of them on the Vaporeon, whereas if I go for the Draco Meteor, it'll do a lot of damage the first turn, and then my special attack will be halved. But I go for the Psyshock here anyway, and it doesn't really do as much as I'm hoping it will. And it only does about 20% maybe. And he's staying in, getting his, he's not really doing as much damage. The Toxic's slowly beginning to build up. And I just keep on going for the Psyshocks because I know eventually they will take him down, but he goes into his Dragonite here, and I get him down to fairly low health, but between the Wish and the leftovers he gets himself back to full health and into his multi-scales, meaning I won't do much damage to him. I have to switch out here because I'm locked into the Psyshock. I go into my Politoed to take the hit. Here I make a bad play. I should have gone for this Shell Smash, predicting him to switch out, but I was hoping he'd over-predict. So I go for the Icicle Spear to hopefully, if I'm lucky, take out his Dragonite. But he goes into his Vaporeon, and I can't take this Vaporeon out. It lives on minimal health. I was hoping the Toxic would take it out, but as he's carrying leftovers, he survives. Here I take a gamble, hoping he'll do something, or I might live the Scald. But given Cloyster's abysmal special defenses, it does not happen. And he takes me out. I figured it was a gamble worth taking, since I knew if he stayed in, the Toxic would kill him on the next turn anyway. Therefore, it was a double down, so we're still level. Nothing too major lost. At first here, I think about going into my Thundurus, because I can just U-turn out on whatever if it's not a good matchup. Then I decide to switch into my Latios instead, because a Draco Meteor will hurt whatever is on his team, especially if the Dragonite comes in and has its guard broken by the Stealth Rocks. He goes into Alakazam here, and I'm Scarfed, so provided the Alakazam's not Scarfed, I know I can outspeed. I go for the safe Draco Meteor here to get damage on whenever he wants to switch in. He just decides to sack the Alakazam in the end, and now he goes into his Infernape, I believe, or maybe his Dragonite, I guess. I think it's his Infernape, or is that, yeah, it's his Infernape. So I just switch out into my Politoed to take the hit, possibly survive with enough health to get a Scald in and do some damage. But he's able to get the 2-hit KO on me, and I decide to sack my Politoed so I can get the safe switch in on my Tornadus. As he takes me out here, now I can bring in my Tornadus and Hurricane away. If he decides to stay in with his Infernape here, the Hurricane will easily kill him. With the 100% chance to hit in the rain, I'm not worried about it missing, and it always has a chance to confuse, which will be good on whatever he brings in. He goes into his Dragonite here, and I get the Hurricane. It doesn't quite do enough to KO, but it leaves him in potential KO range the next turn. I go straight for the Hurricane again, as he switches out to save his Dragonite. I'm not really sure why, but I guess he thought the Dragonite would be more useful. He sacks his Infernape, as I easily kill it with the Hurricane, and I go down myself due to recoil damage. I just bring in my Latios here, because I know I'm Scarfed and can outspeed everything on his team, Especially the Side Shock should be able to kill everything he has left. And he brings in his Miss Magus, which will die easily to the Side Shock. And here he switches out then into his Dragonite. I'm not sure why, he's just taking loads of unnecessary Stealth Rock damage by this switches and had no chance of surviving. Anyway, he brings in his Miss Magus here, which is all he has left, and I outspeed and kill. That's pretty much the whole game. He played fairly well. It would have been a very tight game. It was a very tight game, and if I hadn't have gotten that heat wave off on the Ferrothorn, I might not have won. But if you enjoyed, like and subscribe. Mike Ball signing out. Bye.